Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi. Well, this is the week before Tisha B'Av. The parsha of the week is Devarim, the first Sedra in the 5th book of the Torah, Devarim. And in Devarim, as always, Shabbos Chazon. Shabbos Chazon is the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, and the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av is called Shabbos Nachamu. Why is it called Chazon? Why is it called Nachamu? Because we read in the Haftorah Chazon Yeshaya before Tisha B'Av and Nachamu after Tisha B'Av. So why do we describe the Shabbos with the name of the Haftorah? Because after Pinchas there is no more Haftorahs that have anything to do with the Parsha. After Pinchas it has only to do with the Hamaorah, what happened at this time of the year thousands of years ago. So for the next 12 weeks until Simchas Torah, we have Haftorahs which are nothing to do with the Parsha, only to do with the time of the year when certain things happen, good and bad. They are these 12 Haftorahs, which is 3 months, and in 3 months from now approximately will be the end of Sukkot. And the first Shabbos of the 3 Shabbosos of impending sorrows is Divrei Yirmiyahu, which you read 2 weeks ago, Shimu Devar Hashem, which we read last week, and they're both by Yirmiyahu. And now this week we read Chazon Yeshaya. The way to remember them is Divrei is the mouth, Shimu is the ear, and Chazon is the mind. That's the 3 Haftorahs called Shloshet the Poranusa, the 3 that are telling us what terrible things will happen. Then we read Shiva de Nechemta, 7 of comfort, which starts with Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Nachamu, Nachamu for the first bias and for the second bias, comfort yourself. And then after the Shiva de Nechemta, and then the first 3 Shloshet the Poranusa, which is 10 together, we read Chaim to Tiyufta, 2 of Tshuva. The first one is after Rosh Hashanah, the next day is Som Gedalia, and there's where that's the Haftorah we read every fast day. Dir Shra Hashem Behimotzo, search out God when He can be found. And then we read the one of Shuva Yisrael, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Shabbos in between Shabbos Shuva. So that is 3, 7, and 2, which is 12, which is 3 months. Now let's talk a little bit this week, not so much about Devarim, but about Eicha, which we're going to read next week, Monday night, which means Tisha B'Av is Tuesday. It's a mitzvah, it's a minhag Yisrael to read the 5 Megillas. There's only one of them is a mitzvah. The 5 Megillas, what are the 5? One is read on Pesach, Shir Hashirim, and one is read on Shavuos, Rus, because we became Gerim, so did she. And then comes Tisha B'Av, which is Megillas Eicha, and then comes Sukkot, which is Koheles, and then comes before Pesach again, Rus on Purim. So we have 5 Megillas. One of them is a mitzvah, that's Megillas Esther, because we read it from a klaf, and we have to say a bracha before we read the Megillah. And that's one of the Sheva mitzvahs, the Rabbanon. The other 4 Megillas are Minhagei Yisrael. Now, Sefer Eicha, Megillas Eicha, is called Megillas Eicha by the common man, but that's not the technical name. The name is Sefer Kinnus, the book of Lamentations. Like the Sefer Bereshis is called Bereshis by the regular people. The real name for Bereshis is Sefer HaYetzirah, the book of creation. Sefer HaBriah, or it's called Sefer HaYesharim, the book of the upright men. And Shemos is Shemos because it's the first word, but that's not the official name. Sefer HaGeula, the book of redemption out of Egypt. And Vayikra is really called Torah's Kohanim, the laws of the Kohanim and the Leviim. That's why in Latin it's called Leviticus, about Levi. And Bamidbar is Sefer HaPkudim because it starts out with counting. And Devarim, which we're in now, is called Devarim, but that's not the official name. The name is Mishnah Torah, repetition of the Torah, because there's nothing new in this Sefer, only repetition of the last 3 Sfarim. Nothing in there about Bereshis, and nothing in there about the Mishkan, and Yetzias Mitzrayim, and Matan Torah, and Aseret Dibros. Only after they were around Sinai for 1 year. Those next 39 years, that's what Devarim is about. It's a Musar Sefer about where the Jewish people didn't do the right thing. So let us now learn a little bit about Megillas Eicha. Megillas Kinnis, Book of Lamentation, which we're going to read next week if Mashiach doesn't come. And we know that there are 3 Yom Tov and Pesach, Sukkot, and Shavuos, but there will be 4. Tisha B'Av is the 4th Yom Tov, because it says in Megillas Eicha in the beginning 4 times the word Mo'ed, holiday. As a remez, it'll be the 4th Yom Tov. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is not a Yom Tov. They're Yomim Noroim, something else. So, talking about that, my Sefer is coming out called Q&A on the 14 Yom Tovim. There are 14 special days of the year. Some are the Raisa, some are the Rabbanim. All the 14 holidays, Q&A, questions and answers on all the 14 Yom Tovim, minor and major, and some assorted other questions and answers in the back about Hallel, Chodesh Elul, Duchening, how the Kohen duchen with his hands, the minhagim of Kiddush Levana, Bris, Chasana, Avelos. Alright, so now that's coming out very shortly, in a week or 2. It's called, just like my other Sefer, Nifla'os HaTorah, the gigantic little secrets of the Torah, Q&A on Yom Tovim. And you can dedicate that Sefer, by the way, to anybody you want. If you buy 10 or more, up to 100 Sfarim, even more, and obviously it's cheaper as you get more. You can dedicate to any group, any yeshiva, any family gathering, any bar mitzvah giveaway. It's quite reasonable. And you call me, okay? You call me on my cell phone anytime you want, 24/6. 845-826-4789. Also, since we're talking about that, I do it every week. Anyone in the world listening to me now who has a parnasa problem, who wants to make a little more money every month, or maybe a lot more than a little more money every month, call me. I have an idea that has helped not only me, it has helped thousands of people in the last 3-4 years. My number is 845-826-4789. I got calls from Mexico, Eretz Yisrael, Toronto, all over the United States. It's a opportunity you will thank me for. I joined a month ago, already made back my investment. This is the first check they sent me. It's a good check. Anyhow, so call me, 845-826-4789. Let's talk about Megillas Eicha now, and I hope we don't have to read it this year because Mashiach can come any day. We're already in Golos 1941 years. It's enough. Mashiach should come. You know, Tisha B'Av is 9/11. You're aware of that? You know this if you listen to TorahAnytime.com. By the way, if you want to go on TorahAnytime.com, and obviously you have my video. Above my video, the header has this title: the 19 questions on Tisha B'Av and the 3 weeks. The 19 questions and answers on Tisha B'Av and the 3 weeks. And I explained to you last week, and if you listen to my audio shurim on Kol Halashon, we have about 1,900 of them. There's no such thing as 3 weeks, by the way. It doesn't exist, because the Gemara never talks about 3 weeks, or the Medrash, or the Shulchan Aruch. It's done because it's not true. There's no such thing as 3 weeks. Because if you add up the days from the beginning to the end, it's 22 days, and that's not 3 weeks. Chazal never say anything that's not true. The Sefer made Tshuva, that's 10 days, but 3 weeks are not 3 weeks, therefore they never use the word 3 weeks. In those booklets they use it, but not in the Gemara or Medrash or Shulchan Aruch. They call it Bein HaMetzoret, between one border and the other border, Shivos of Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. It happens to be 13 days and 9 days, that's 22 days. Let's talk about 9/11. You see, Tisha B'Av is the 9th day of the 11th month. Because the next month after Av is Elul, and then the year starts over. So it's 9/11. We had 9/11 already for 2,000 years. And the beginning of the end of European Jewry started in the First World War. And Germany lost it, and that's why they made a Second World War. That started on 9/11, by the way, Tisha B'Av, 1914. The Second World War, 10 months before Hitler invaded Poland, was Kristallnacht. Exactly 11/9. November 9th. Jews were thrown out of Spain on 9/11, on Tisha B'Av, 1492. And Jews were driven out of England in 1290 on Tisha B'Av, and out of France, 1307. A lot of things happened on 9/11. Even in America, when a person needs assistance from the police, what number do they dial? 9/11. Why did Hashem do that? Put that in the mind of people, the authorities, to make a number 911. Because the mispar katan of 911, if you add it up, is 11. The mispar katan of 11 is 2. Really, 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 the entire universe and everything here is for between two entities, Yisrael and Hashem. The first word in the Torah, Bereshis, the Rosh Tevis, stand for, the Vilna Gaon says, Beis, Reish, Aleph, Shin, Yud, Tov, Barishona, says the Gra, Barishona, Ra Elokim. In the beginning, when God made the world, when He decided to make a world, God saw Sheikabdi Yisrael Torah, the Jews would accept the Torah. That's the purpose of the entire universe. That sounds very chauvinistic, right? Well, I didn't say it. The Vilna Gaon said it because our Chachamim say so. If we're bad, everything goes down. It's all our fault. If we're good, everything's our credit. Because we're the captains of the ship and the pilot of the plane. Barishona, Ra, Lakim, Sheikabdi Yisrael Torah. If they don't accept Torah, they bring in sorrows on the world. The world does not accept Torah. We have to accept Torah. The principles, the ideas, and to practice it. They have 7, we have 613 mitzvahs. Now let's start the Megillas Eicha. Do you know that, you know why we had the first base of English was destroyed, and the second? Because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. I'm not a Navi. Why was there such a thing as the Shoah, the Holocaust? You think Hashem would punish us because we're good people? Everything is good, wonderful. Really? Do you think that maybe the Torah tells us twice in the Torah, if you're bad, this is what's going to happen? Twice. 98 curses and 45 curses. That's 143. You think it's? You think they didn't happen? It's because you didn't do your job. Think back 70 years ago, and then what happened 150 years before 70 years ago? 63 years ago. What happened 150 years before that? Was there a cancer in the Jewish people? In the East and the West? I'm not going to explain it to you because you know the answer. Hashem said at 1933 when that man got elected, Adkan, this is how far it goes, no more. He had between 33 and 38, it was Kristallnacht was 1938. 9 months later was September 1939, the invasion of Poland. He gave the Jews another chance, another 9 months, 10 months, to do tshuva. It doesn't come without warning. When Hashem told Noah He's going to destroy the world in 120 years, in 1656, He told him 120 years before. And when the 120 years were over, nothing happened. Because Nimrod died. Meshuselach died. He lived longer than any human. 969. And there were 7 days of Avelus. That was to give the people one more chance to do tshuva. 7 more days. God is Molei Rachamim. When Moshe told Korach, you're going to fall in a hole in the ground alive, the ground started to shake before it opened. He said to Korach, no, you're going to do tshuva? No! He gave him another chance. He gives us chances. Maybe we'll become Balei Tshuva. Maybe we're religious, not enough religion. Maybe we're not sincere. Gives you 120 years, 80 years, 90 years. And He's giving you a chance. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He wants you to think it over and live a better life. You know, in Germany, they had to wear a yellow star. It said on their Jude. Ever seen one of them? That's written with Hebrew letters in German. Jude. Do you ever wonder why we had to wear a yellow star? A Jewish star, a yellow star, 2 triangles upside down. Ever wonder about that? Yellow star, Jude. Did you ever wonder why the Jews were tattooed on their arm when they went to the concentration camps? Ever thought about that? Let me tell you something what Hashem says. If you don't do my mitzvahs, I'll send agents to remind you. Certain Jews in the east and in the west didn't put on tefillin on their arm. So Hashem put something else on their arm. They stopped wearing tzitzis, a garment of a fabric, put another fabric on them. They stopped putting up mezuzahs, so the Nazis wrote Judah on the door. You don't do my mitzvahs, I'll remind you. The Jews were herded into synagogues and burnt because they didn't go to synagogues anymore. They reformed the religion and went into temples, which is assimilation. There is no temple. There was one 2,000 years ago. There'll be another. Now we have a base of Knesset and yeshiva, no temples. Those Jews who were highly, highly assimilated were not selected by Hitler to be saved, even though they gave up every single thing that a Jew does, bris and Shabbos and name and belief in God and everything. And they were sent to Auschwitz also, with that mark on the hand, on the arm, and Dachau and Belsenbergen. No difference was made between a Torah Jew and an assimilated Jew. You are hated by these people. So the experiment of assimilation failed. My father used to say, on crystal Nacht, when all the windows, the glass was on the ground, looked like crystal, he said, beautiful thing, unfortunate. The crystal ball of German illusionism of assimilation was smashed. Their experiment was a failure of assimilation because they took this, the Orthodox Jew and the religious Jew and the assimilated Jew into the same gas chamber. So to escape from Hashem is impossible. And the more intelligence you have, the more you understand that you can't escape. And He gave you a Torah at Sinai 3,300 years ago. And He says, if you do this, you're going to have good. If you do that, I'll give you these curses. And every one of them came true. So it's not something that He's not Molei Rachamim. He's tremendous Rachamim. Reform started in 1775. 150 years later, 1933. I think it's enough time. Not right away. Maybe you'll do tshuva. No, you don't. So you see what happens. Like it says in the Sefer, Das Tvunos, that if something goes wrong with the system, nature, it's because of sinners, Rishoyim, cause it to go wrong. Because the system is perfect and benevolent and kind and moral and decent. And when human beings who have a rational mind go against the God, against their Creator, it puts a defect in the system. And therefore, the system creates a monster like Yimach Shemo Hitler to kill Jews, because your evil acts created this force, this power, this malach, this agent. And mitzvahs create tzaddikim, powers in your favor. Das Tzunas. It's in all the Muslim farms, it's all the same. Derech Hashem, Mesilas Yesharim, Orchos Tzadikim, Lovos Avovos. It's always the same. You do what you're supposed to do, no one can touch you. You don't do, Hashem has agents to make you, remind you what you should have done. Now let's learn Megillas Eicha.
So Rabbi, you're saying that He would reverse the decree?
Yes. It will come a time, if you deserve it or not, when that time comes. Mashiach will be here regardless if you deserve it or not, because that's a promise to the Avos. If you deserve it, it's your zechus that Mashiach comes. If you don't deserve it, it'll come anyhow, not your zechus. That's Vadai. Now, Be'ito achisheno. At its time, I will cause it to come quicker. So that's a contradiction. At its time, quicker. If you don't do anything to help yourself, it'll be dragged out to the max. Be'ito. If you chish, if you tzaddikim do tshuva, I'll make it come quicker. You know the word be'ito achisheno is Gematria 851? Yes, so. Ever heard of America's experience called 9/11? In 2001, 9/11, September 11th, 2001. Do you know what date that was? You remember? Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock? That was Chav Gimel Elul Tov Shin Samach Aleph. That's exactly 851. He rushed the end 10 years ago. He's bringing things to a head. The world was different after that date. Never again the same world, by the way. They, Yishmaelim, control the entire world with fear, because they do not fear death. We want to live. They want to die. They figure they're going to get something up there. Mad man religion. We have to give up, break the whole Torah to live, except for 3 exceptions. They want to die. Bilam wanted to die by a Jew. They also wanted to be killed by a Jew. Bilam wanted to be killed by a Jew. He knew that if something he would be killed by a Jew, there's some connection with him and the member of the eternal nation. He was killed by Pinchas, and the Gilgal of Pinchas is Eliyahu Navi, and the Gilgal of Bilam is Gilgal of Bilam. I don't know exactly what that was. Something again. Bilam, yeah. Bilam was the donkey of Pinchas ben Yair, because Bilam lived with his donkey. It's in the Sforim. Anyhow, let's learn Megillas Eicha. Eicha Yoshva Bodod. How is it that she sits alone? Yerushalayim, the Jewish people. Why are we always alone? No one likes us. Eicha, how is it? Now, why did you start with the word Eicha, Aleph Yud Chav Hey? 36. 1, 10, 20, and 5 is 36. Why are the 2 states were destroyed on the same day? The first base of Mikdash, the second base of Mikdash, 490 years apart on Tisha B'Av. What happened the first Tisha B'Av? When the Meraglim came back and said, we can't conquer Eretz Yisrael, the giants over there, Hashem said, you cried for nothing. I'll give you something to cry about. You don't think I'm capable of bringing you into a land where there's giants? So for last year, you've been in the desert here, studying the Torah around Har Sinai. Who fed you every day? Oh, Lechem in Hashemayim. Where did you get water? It followed you. Who split the sea and let you pass and drown them? Who spoke to you at Sinai on the 7th day of Sivan in 2448? And now I'm not able to get rid of these enormous giants who were 48 feet tall, because they were 4 times bigger than Goliath, and Goliath was twice the size of a man, and a man is 3 amas, which is 6 feet, and he was 12 feet, 6 amas, and 12 times 4 is 48 feet. You don't trust me? Hashem said you'll suffer, and you spend 39 days in the land, so you're going to spend 39 years wandering the desert, because they're already 1 year learning Torah around Sinai. So it says, instead of saying a year for a day, it says a day for a year. Yom Lashona, Yom Lashona. It should say Shana Layom. You know why? Yom Lashona should say Shana Layom, a year for a day. No, a day for a year. They died every year on 1 day. Tisha B'Av. About 15,000 every year, because 39 times 15,000 is about 603,550. That's how many males there were between 20 and 60. Yom Lashon, 1 day a year you're going to die. Anyone who was between 20 and 60 when they went out of Mitzrayim. But if you were 19, you survived. And if you're 61, you survive. Therefore, those who came into Eretz Yisrael were 59 or 101. Males, between 20 and 60. Women, everybody survived. Levi, everybody survived. But males between 20 and 60 didn't make it. Because you complained against God, Hashem says, okay, you don't think I'm capable, you have to relearn. You're slow learners. You have to go to rehab. That's the 39 years in the Midbar. Relearn the principles of Yahadus. So they spent 39 years relearning how to have trust in Hashem. Until this very day, you have to have total trust in Hashem. You try the best you do in business and shidduchim there at your maximum, and then let it go. It's up to Hashem. You have to have emunah shlema without a doubt. Ani mamin, it's not enough you believe. Emunah shlema without a doubt. Because emunah, trust, has some doubt in it. Emunah shlema has no doubt. That's the difference between emunah and bitochen. Emunah means I trust you, but there's a little suffix. Bitochen means there's no suffix whatsoever. It's like a person who pays you every week in cash, and then one day after 6 months, a year, he says, look, I'm going to give you a check this week. The man never faltered, never missed a payment, and he gives you that check. Do you have a suffix, even 1,000%, 100%, 100th of a percent that check is no good? No, because the man's honorable. He kept his word. That's called bitochen. Emunah means I trust you, but could be maybe you're not 100%. The bitochen is absolute confidence. Let's look at this word. Eicha is 36. They violated the 36 krisos. In the Sefer Gemara krisos. They violated the 36 things that you get kares from. Others hold no. Eicha is aleph. They didn't have emunah in one Hashem. Yud in the Sefer Dibros. Chaf in bris milah, morality, which was given in the 20th generation to Avraham Avinu, in the age when the world was when the world was 2,000 years old, 20th generation. And Hey means they didn't believe in the Chamisha Chumsha Torah. Eicha Yoshva Bodod. How did she sit alone? Bodod is 10. Alone means there's no minion. Eicha Yoshva Bodod. How did she sit alone? Ha'ir, the city, Yerushalayim. Rabosi Am, that is bustling, used to be, with a lot of people. Ha'yisa Ke Almana. It's like a widow. It's not a widow. The husband is coming back. Mashiach is coming. But it looks like a widow. Rabosi Bagoyim, great and powerful amongst the nations. It was the most powerful business center. It was cultural center. A religious center. It was the place where people came to visit. It was the most important visiting place on earth. Okay, so Rossi Babadinos, a prince amongst the nations. Hoyisol Lamas, it became, now it pays tax to people who overtook it. Who overpowered it. Bacha Sivcha Balayim, it cries at night. Bacha Sivcha, twice, for first bias and second bias. Balayim, at night. The Mosa Alechio, it's like a person who is the muscle, a person crying. The tears are on its cheeks. Ein lo Menachem, there is no comforter. Mashiach has not come yet because his name is Menachem, because he's born on Tisha B'Av. Menachem, Mashiach has many names. Shiloh, Mashiach, Tzemach, growth. Anyhow, Ein lo Menachem, you have no comforter. Mikol Oihaveho, all her friends abandon her. Kol Re'eho, all her friends, Bogdubo, have betrayed her. Doesn't it sound similar to today, Rabbi Isai? Huh? Isn't it the same thing going on today? If you know what's going on, you understand this. They have become her enemies. All of a sudden they don't like you anymore. When you're down and out, they say, sure, you deserve to be down and out because God doesn't like you. When you're successful, they say you're the worst. You're mistreating people. You can never win with them because the Torah says so. Also Yehuda Maoni. Yehuda was driven out due to poverty. No money, no. Poverty in Torah and in Emunah and trust. Me'rov avoda, because of suffering and harsh toil. He, Yoshva Bagoyim, she lived amongst the nations of the world. Lo motzo manoach, never any rest, always driven from place to place. Kol rodofeho hisiguho, all her pursuers overtook her. Vein hametzorim, between the narrow straits, that means in the 3 weeks between Shavuos and Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, all the worst things happened in Jewish history. That's why it's called Bein HaMetzorim, not 3 weeks, because it's called Bein HaMetzorim. That's the technical term. Darkei Tzion Avelus. The way of Zion is Avelus. Tzion. You know what that means, Tzion? It's Yerushalayim. Why is it called Tzion? Tzion is a marker. When a person dies, you got to put a Tzion there so a Kohen doesn't walk there. Tzion is people that live, Tzionim are people that live in Yerushalayim. You know who the real Tzionim are? Those who keep the Torah. Not those who do not keep the Torah and call themselves with that name. And we say every day, 3 times a day, the Tzion Barachimim. We want to be Tzionim, Torah Tzionim, not atheist Tzionim. The Archei Tzion, the way of Tzion, the marker, that's that Yerushalayim is a monument to the nations. That's in that Tzion. When you come back to Tzion, not the way it is today. When Mashiach comes, there is no shame parade in Yerushalayim. No way. Different world order completely, totally, and that's what the anti-Torah secularists are panic about. Either the Torah Jew takes over or the Muslim, but they're going to lose, that's for sure. Because first of all, we have more numbers than them, and it's only a matter of time. Those who are non-religious will become frum, and those who are anti-religious will have to suffer the consequences. We know exactly what's coming. It's not going to be, it's going to be very good for the good and very bad for the bad. It's going to be good and bad, depends where you are holding. Up to that point, there's rachmim in the world. God lets you get away with it. At that moment starts din, no mercy. Because Hashem will say, you had all this time to make your decision. You made your decision. Now Hashem is making His decision. Zion ba mishpat tipodet. Zion will be redeemed with mishpat, justice. That's not mercy. When is that time coming? Maybe now. Do tshuva every single day. Because just like, you know, when you put a piece of bread in the toaster, you know it's going to toast. It's going to pop. You just don't know when. Same thing with Shia. It's going to come. That's Vadai. When? We don't know. Tomorrow? Today? Next week? 50 years? We have no idea. Just like Hashem promised Avram that they're going to go in Mitzrayim and get out. They went in Mitzrayim, they came out after 400 years. Just like Yirmiyahu told the people the base of English will be destroyed, it was destroyed. And just like in the second Bais, they predicted it 50 years before, and it happened. And some people don't learn from the past. Mashiach will come, vaday without a question, if you're good or bad. If you're good, it comes because you're schus. If it's bad, it comes anyhow. Because Hashem promised. The way of Zion is poverty. The roads of Zion are mourning for the lack of festival pilgrims. Nobody goes, oh, we used to go to Yerushalayim 3 times a year. Thousands, millions of people. Without Moed, the word Moed is used 4 times here to let us know that it's going to be the 4th Yom Tov. Kol Shoreha, all the gates, Shomeimim, all her gates are desolate. No one's coming to Yerushalayim. Oh, I know they're coming by El Al, but they're not going to be Oldel Regel and see the Karbonos on Har Hamariah and see the Kohanim and the Beis Hamikdash and Shechina. None of that. We are waiting for the great moment of Geula, where all mankind will call God's name. Because it says in Elena, the 2nd chapter, Chol b'nei bosa yiku b'shmecha. No other belief and faith will even exist, because they'll see it is false. All human beings are mechuyev to believe in the Borei Olam, nothing else. Not to keep all the mitzvahs, that's our job, but they have to keep 7. All religions are illegal, except believing in the one Creator. It's a limited amount of mitzvahs, 7. Kol b'nei bosa yiku b'shmecha. Look at the 2nd chapter of Elenu. It's only about a monarchy based on a theocracy. It's not a government of the people, by the people, for the people. That's fabulous government for the Ummah Sa'olam, not for us. Because to Hashem, to us, in Sinai was revealed the absolute truth, not relative truth. Absolute, because the Creator was speaking to us. Otherwise we wouldn't believe it. Why would we? Well, it's not Mosaic law. We don't believe in Moses. Moses spoke directly to Hashem. Hashem spoke to Moshe. That's why we believe Moshe, because that's what Hashem intended. What He's told him, Moshe. That's the oral law that we have today. We can't live the Torah by the Bible, because there's many things in the Bible that if you take it literally, you will violate the Torah. You have to have the Chazal and Chacham to tell us what that means. That's why you learn Torah. We have Torah B'Ksav and Torah B'Al Peh. It's like the skeleton and the skin and the flesh. You can't walk around with a skeleton, but you collapse without it. And you can't walk around with skin, you need a skeleton. But you can't walk around with a skeleton, you need skin and bone and flesh. So the top cover is the Torah B'Al Peh. The skeleton, the inner basic fundamental structures, Torah B'Ksav. But then it's explained, how will you live this way? How do you do these things? That Torah B'Al Peh, that's the oral law. The Midas Harachamim. Underneath is the skeleton. That's the written law. That's Midas Adin. It says in the Torah, he who violates the Shabbos, Misa, death. And then it goes to a whole discussion. Well, how do you violate Shabbos? If you didn't know, you're not chayiv. Were you warned? Were you warned twice? Were the Adam related? It's so difficult to execute a person. It almost never happened. One execution in 70 years by a Jewish bezdin is called a terrorist bezdin. It almost never happened, because the written law is the Torah B'Ksav. That's din. But then how and when and where, it comes out that almost not possible to execute anybody. Now let's finish one more pasuk.
Rabbi, what did it mean? The ways of Sion is poverty.
Oh. You have to learn the whole Megillas Eicha. Darchei Tzion Avelus. We have to go into it. That's already, well, on Tisha B'Av we'll learn Megillas Eicha in more depth. We'll have a video on Tisha B'Av. And on Kol HaLashon too. You hear it live on Kol HaLashon. By the way, Kol HaLashon, that has all over the world, just like Torah Anytime, has a new number, a new telephone number, changed this week. Hundreds of incoming lines. Kol HaLashon, all over the world, just changed their incoming number. Write it down if you listen to Kol HaLashon. There's hundreds of Magidei Shir, 50,000 Shiurim. I got 1,900 of them. Here, 1-718-395-2440. Then when the man speaks, if you want to listen to me, you can listen to anybody you want. But if you want to listen to me, you have to push my code number. 11101. 1-718-395-2440. 11101. Alright, anyhow, we'll do that on Tisha B'Av, and right after Chatzos, we'll learn Megillas Eicha with a lot of depth, on Tisha B'Av. And maybe we'll do a video too, but then that'll be only the next day. You'll see it the next day. Darchei Tzion Avelus. What does that mean? The way of Sion is Avelus. Sion is God's Yerushalayim. The Jewish people is a marker to all mankind how to live. What does it mean, Darchei Tzion Avelus? That means the roads of Sion are in mourning. The phrase could be translated, the roads within Sion, or the roads leading to Sion. Sion is its classical biblical sense, refers specifically to Har Sion. It's destroyed, that's why it's mourning. There's no Beis Hamikdash there. South of Mount Moriah in Yerushalayim, Mount Sion is a little bit next to the Har HaMoriah in Yerushalayim. It is often used in Tanakh interchangeably with Yerushalayim as a source of Kedusha, sanctity. There's an instance in Yeshayim Nun Aleph, where the Jews themselves are referred to. The Jews themselves are called Sion, the marker, the monument to nations. So Sion means the Har HaMoriah, or the mountain next to it. Har Sion, right next to it, a little hill. Right, so it's like we did enough for today, and we will do more on Tisha B'Av, and we hope Mashiach will come before next Tuesday, and if not, remember, do tshuva, how good a person is, try to be better, daven slower, learn more, do mitzvahs, watch the mouth, don't talk lashon hara, and Try to be the best person you can. You see what we just suffered in Yerushalayim 2 weeks ago, where a madman killed his Rebbe? And in Brooklyn 4 weeks ago, where an insane human, I don't know if he's human, chopped up a Jewish child? You think it doesn't affect you and hurt you? If you go on living the regular way as before this, then it had no effect on you. You think it just for other people, not you? You should not suffer in this? You have to change your life because of that. Otherwise, it has no purpose. Boy, have a good week, and sei gesund, and let us hope Nechama comes to Yisrael right away. It's way overdue.